What is up, folks? My name is Waviavelli, and this is the Traktrain tutorial series, Traktrain Your Ears. Every week we'll be going over topics important to audio engineering. This week's topic, compression. What is a compressor? How do compressors work? And most importantly, how can compression take your mixes from sounding like this to sounding like this? Alright, let's get started. First question, what is a compressor? Essentially, a compressor is a tool used to decrease the dynamic range of an audio signal. Now, the term dynamic range has no real set definition. For the purposes of this tutorial, when I refer to dynamic range, I'll be speaking about the difference between the perceived loudness of the loudest and quietest parts of an audio signal. Currently, there are three popular units of measurement for perceived audio loudness. Those three are LUFS, RMS, and dBs. For engineers interested in the levels of those units of measurements in commercial tracks, I encourage you to click the link in the description below to find out more information about metering. Compression is a tool for audio signal processing that got its start in the radio world. Radio engineers would use compressors to prevent overmodulation of a radio signal. The end result was music that was tighter and louder. The audio character imparted by a compressor quickly became associated with quality sound. One of the most popular analog compressors, and the analog compressor that most digital and virtual compressors is based off of, is the Universal Audio 1176. The 1176 was developed in the late 1960s by legendary audio engineer Bill Putnam. Most audio engineers either have used or will use a compressor based off of the 1176 design. A popular example that most audio engineers have already used or for sure will use is the CLA 76 from Waves Audio. No two compressors are exactly alike. Based on the signal processing built into the design of any compressor, whether analog, digital, or virtual, every compressor imparts a character on the audio signal passing through it. Most compressors contain a set of 5 controls. If not, those compressors have controls that are similar or are combinations of a set of controls from these 5. Those 5 are threshold, ratio, attack, release, and gain. The threshold control controls the signal level at which compression starts to take effect. The attack control controls how quickly after an audio signal has surpassed the threshold level will the compression begin to take effect. The release control controls how quickly compression will cease after an audio signal has dipped below the threshold level. Finally, the gain control controls the level of perceived volume after the compressor has taken effect. So I think that's enough theory for now. Let's go ahead and hop into Ableton and actually look at some compressors.
Alright, as y'all can see, I'm just getting my compressors set up. I'm going to be using 3 of the more popular compressors. The Pro C from FabFilter, CLA 76 from Waves, like I mentioned before, and the Ableton stock compressor. So first things first, let's go ahead and hear the audio dry and get a sense for what we're working with. I'm going to be working with a vocal track from artist Chris Cavalier. I'll post a link to his SoundCloud in the description below. An artist that I work with quite frequently.
I'm in the gully in the gutter, young brother. At this point in my life, I am feeling quite shuddered. I don't think that I can do it. I think I need a break. You come bearing negativity around my way.
Alright, so y'all kind of got an idea of like how that sounds dry. Let's go ahead and toss the Ableton stock compressor on there, see how we're sounding.
I'm in the gully in the gutter, young brother. At this point in my life, I am feeling quite
So to the untrained ear, it may have seemed like the audio was simply louder, but I want you to think about a compressor as a dynamic range changer, not just a volume knob. So let's think of a slinky. Let's think of our audio waveform or our audio file as a slinky. What our compressor is doing basically is taking the tops and the bottoms of that slinky and pushing them closer together. So while things may seem louder, technically we're making things quieter in a sense. But because all the sound energy is more even, we can then boost that and get a more even or tighter sound. So let's play around a little bit more with these controls and see what other kind of sounds we can get.
I'm in the gully in the gutter, young brother. At this point in my life, I am feeling quite shuttered. I don't think that I can do it. I think I need a break. You come bearing negativity around my way. Why?
So what I did in that take was I turned down the release in the Ableton compressor, and that gave the audio a more punchy feel, as opposed to a high release where the audio feels even.
I'm in the gully in the gutter, young brother. At this point in my life, I am feeling quite shuttered. I don't think that I can do it. I think I need a break. You come bearing negativity around my way. Why? I don't have the time, nor do the patience. Get out, break from the habits. Let's take a bit for a second and relax. I'm just filling space for the sake of the moment.
So admittedly, it's pretty hard to tell the difference between simply compressing an audio file and making it louder. But back to what I was saying earlier, you saw me playing with the ratio knob, which is the strength of our compression, and the volume fader, which is the volume after compression has taken place. The ratio knob actually compresses this audio slinky, this proverbial audio slinky I talked about earlier. It compresses it to a greater amount, while the volume knob basically brings it closer to your face if we think about audio in a 3D space. And now I'm going to go ahead and toss on the CLA compressor from Waves Audio. CLA stands for Chris Lord, who I'm guessing is also a legendary audio engineer. I should probably do my research about that.
I'm in the gully in the gutter, young brother. At this point in my life, I am feeling quite shuttered. I don't think that I can do it. I think I need a break. You come bearing negativity around my way. Why? I don't have the time, nor do the patience. Get out, break from the habits. Let's take a bit for a second and relax. I'm just filling space for the sake of the moment, reclaiming my quotient and heeding my devotion. Okay, thanks. It looks like you're encroaching my boundaries, so can you please get away from me? All I ask for is consistency. Let me know if I can help you with that, please. And no, I'm not being condescending. I want this to work like 7 to 3.
So as you can undoubtedly hear, the CLA almost gives us the same sound. Even though it has different controls, our audio sounds louder and more put together, more tight. So essentially, every compressor does the same thing. Like I said before, it's a dynamic range changer. It changes the dynamic range of our sound. It makes the tops of our slinky closer to the bottoms of our slinky. But one thing we do have to keep in mind is that every compressor imparts a certain audio character, and it's really up to your preference based on which one you pick. The 1176, actually the CLA 76 that is made by Waves, I do enjoy for vocals because it gives a very even sound. But I do find that it can occasionally be very harsh as far as compression goes, almost too even to where vocals may sound flat. And of course that may just come down to preference or the way I'm using it, but that is something to keep in mind.
I'm in the gully in the gutter, young brother. At this point in my life, I am feeling quite shuttered. I don't think that I can do it. I think I need a break. You come bearing negativity around my way. Why? I don't have the time, nor do the patience. Get out, break from the habits. Let's take a bit for a second and relax. I'm just filling space for the sake of the moment, reclaiming my.
So I really do encourage y'all to play with all the controls in any plugin you come across. As you can hear and as you can see, the 76 has a whole lot of bells and whistles that can achieve a variety of different sounds. The analog button adds a static that gives it a more realistic feel. I find that to be pretty interesting, but it can be annoying whenever you have maybe 3 or 4 compressors going and you may forget to turn the analog off, and you know, your music stops and suddenly out of nowhere it's basically just a static fest. So be careful with that and always just keep in mind what you're doing. But I mean, like I said, it's all experimentation really, and it just comes down to knowing the sound you want to get and knowing how to get it. And that's what mixing is.
I'm in the gully in the gutter, young brother. At this point in my life, I am feeling quite shuttered. I don't think that I can do it. I think I need a break. You come bearing negativity around my way? Why? I don't have the time, nor do the patience. Get out, break from the habits. Let's take a bit for a second and relax. I'm just filling space for the sake of the moment, reclaiming my quotient and heeding my devotion. Okay, thanks. It looks like you're encroaching my boundaries, so can you please get away from me? All I ask for is consistency. Let me know if I can help you with that, please. And no, I'm not being condescending. I want this to work like 7 to 3.
So that was the Fab Filter compressor. It's what I'm least familiar with, and I don't really use it too often. But as you can see, just like the CLA and just like the Ableton stock compressor, we got the same effect. Our vocals sound louder and more tight. So I'm sure you have like 5 or 6 compressors laying around. Why don't you take the time to go through them and really see which one you prefer and why you prefer it. Let me know about which one you like in the comment section, and I'll see y'all next week with the next video. Thank y'all.